Hello, Wonderhussy here, out in the middle of nowhere again, in the shadow of majestic, snow-capped Mount Charleston, highest peak in the Spring Mountains, overlooking this really desolate and mysterious and seldom visited place called Sandy Valley. That's right, Sandy Valley is this unincorporated community. I think there's about 2,000 people living out here, and it's all kind of little mini ranches, rancheros. I think zoning wise, the minimum parcel size out here is 2.5 acres. So all these cool little ranches in this beautiful valley, only about 45 miles from Las Vegas. Matter of fact, I think their tourism tagline is something like 45 minutes and 100 years from Vegas. Because even though Vegas is just right over those mountains there, 45-minute drive, it is like coming back in time 100 years to come out here. Because these people are living the Wild West frontier lifestyle, even in the year 2022. And I'm going to drive into town and take a look around and show you that not only is Sandy Valley living an iconic Western lifestyle that many would envy, it's also a really weird and interesting place. Okay, one of the things that makes Sandy Valley so interesting is the fact that it's situated right on the California-Nevada state line. That's right, the state line of California-Nevada runs, well, I was gonna say runs right through town, but it really doesn't because, well, everyone with any common sense built their houses on the Nevada side of the line, you know, to avoid them California taxes. So that really the town of Sandy Valley is all on the Nevada side. There's a few abandoned places and a few ranches on the California side. And that has something to do with water usage. I feel like there's some kind of weird unlimited water use on the California side because they're all grandfathered in so they can grow alfalfa. Whatever the case, there's some pretty nice ranches on this side of the state line. But all the really weird, interesting stuff is on the Nevada side. Shocker! Oh, look at this. Please drive slowly and watch for old horses, blind dogs, unruly kids for the next 2 miles. Someone's got a good sense of humor here in Sandy Valley. Oh, you know what this is? This is an amazing Airbnb called Sandy Valley Ranch. I actually want to come stay here sometime. I was doing some research for this video online last night, and this ranch here, Sandy Valley Ranch, it's an Airbnb where you can actually, oh, you can't see, there's a Conestoga wagon, a covered wagon, and they got a couple teepees. I think they have an old Victorian like gypsy wagon, all fixed up that you can stay in overnight. And then I think there's like a big ranch house kitchen where they make those big ranch breakfasts, and they'll take you horseback riding all over this beautiful desert. Oh, it's definitely on my bucket list, and one of many reasons I plan on coming back to Sandy Valley very soon. Oh gosh, we haven't even gotten into Sandy Valley, Nevada yet, and I'm already seeing all kinds of cool stuff. Okay, let's check out this ranch up here. I mean, you can see by the number of bushes and shrubs, I mean, probably doesn't look much to you, but for someone who lives in the desert, that indicates that there's a lot of water out here. And I guess that's how come all these ranchers decided to build their ranches out here in the first place. Now look at this place. This is the Kingston Ranch. It says it was homesteaded in 1931. Uh-oh, they don't dial 911. I don't know if you happen to see that decal with the 2 crossed pistols that says, "We don't dial 911." Well, I was actually looking at their website last night, and I guess the guy who owns the ranch seemed like a cool guy, but he had this whole poem that he wrote on there about how he has a gun and a backhoe and how you shouldn't just go poking around people's properties in Sandy Valley. Yikes. I will admit that made me double think making this video, but I came out here anyway. Oh, look at those horses grazing peacefully. Just beautiful. And then look next door. Here's another ranch. This one is called the Shiloh Ranch. And what's interesting about that place is, I was reading last night, it's a horse rescue that was founded by the actor Tony Curtis. Okay, remember Tony Curtis from Some Like It Hot? Him and his wife used to live in Vegas, and well, apparently they were big animal lovers, and so they bought this ranch out here for horse rescues. And I don't know who owns it now. Tony Curtis passed away years ago, but apparently someone's still taking pretty good care of it. Okay, wow, wait, look at this place. Okay, I'm not trying to go in here because there's a bunch of no trespassing signs and they look like they mean business. I mean, look at this one. Restricted area, no trespass, warning. Intruders may suffer high voltage laser shock, terminal bodily injury, and severe vehicle damage. Golly, I just wanted to look at the dome house, but okay, I'm just gonna look at it from a safe distance. That would be an amazing investment property. You know what I mean? Like if you ever wanted to move out into the middle of nowhere and have a very quirky homestead of your very own, this would be the place. Triangle-shaped windows and views for days. Okay, so probably the most interesting thing to me about Sandy Valley is the fact that it's right on the California-Nevada state line. Like the town literally ends at the California state line, and then there's just a few ranches and abandoned houses. And you can see here, well, actually you can tell we're at the state line two ways. One, there's a sign right there saying we're entering Clark County, which is Nevada. It's where Vegas is. And two, well, you can see where the road starts, basically. Well, maybe you can tell there's a line there. And, well, where the dotted road begins is where California ends, or something like that. That's Nevada. This is California. As a matter of fact, there's a little dirt road running right along the state line that I think would be kind of fun to drive on. So let's do just that. Driving right down the state line of California and Nevada. I got my driver's side tire in California and my passenger side tire in Nevada. If I had a passenger with me, it'd be even funnier because we'd both be sitting in different states. Okay, and what's really interesting about this road, not just the fact that it runs right along the California-Nevada state line, it also parallels this weird neighborhood. It's like a fly-in neighborhood for people with private airplanes. See what I mean? Wow, this is wild. I mean, you can see we're staring right at the, well, end or beginning of this runway here. And look, here's a sign, private property, aircraft only. No horses, no motorcycles, no ATVs. But look at this. This is wild. This is an entire community built for people who have their own private planes. And it makes sense because, well, like I was saying earlier, we're really isolated out here. Yeah, we're only 45 miles from Las Vegas, but that's as the crow flies over all these mountains. Gosh, it's probably like a 5-minute plane flight here. So if you worked in Vegas, can you imagine? I guess you just taxi your plane out of your private hangar. Or that one there is just sort of parked in the desert. But I guess a lot of these homes probably have little private hangars, you know, instead of garages. And so you would taxi your plane out to the central runway here. And then you would just take off over the mountains and be in Vegas in no time. Well, you could easily commute to work in Vegas and, well, Los Angeles for that matter, anywhere if you lived here. I guess this neighborhood is called Sky Ranch Estates, and I was looking at it on Google Earth last night, and there's some pretty nice houses here, which stands to reason. I mean, if you can afford a private plane, then you can probably afford a pretty nice house. But yeah, a couple of these properties were amazing. Can you imagine living out here with your own private plane and your own beautiful estate in the middle of this iconic wild western valley? I mean, that's one of the things that I think is so fascinating about Sandy Valley is, yeah, it's 100 years in the past and they like the old western ways, but then they fly in on their private planes. You know, you'd expect them to go riding in on horseback. Okay, let's see if we can drive around these Sky Ranch Estates. I'm curious. Okay, here's what it would look like if you lived at an airport, essentially. Okay, I'm being a little bit facetious, but oh yeah, see, all these little roads on the side are private. You're not allowed to go down them because those all intersect with the runway. But oh yeah, I guess these people do all have their own hangars. Oh my gosh, look, these are private hangars. Everyone's got their little airplane. I mean, look at this place here. House isn't much to speak of, but the friggin' airplane hangar, that's the whole reason they have this place. Oh, there's an airplane out that one. Wow, this is so interesting. Oh, look up here. You can see inside this one, you can actually see the airplane in there. Oh, its nose poking out. This is a trip. Man, I've actually been wanting to come out here and make a video for quite some time, but I don't don't know, for whatever reason, I've been kind of hesitant. Even though I did have some viewers of this channel email me once and invite me. They live out here and they're like, oh yeah, come out and make a video. I don't know, I just felt like sometimes people in these small towns don't want big city outsiders poking around. But I don't have anything bad to say about it. I think it's awesome. Oh man, it really sucks that the sun is behind this building, because this building right here is pretty much downtown Sandy Valley. You can see on the sign here, Sandy Valley Center. There's a cafe that serves pizza and hamburgers. There's a post office. There's a real estate office and a resale shop. Okay, and then on the other side of the street, just a little bit down from the post office in the Sandy Valley Center, there's a little JJ's General Store. And it looks like there's even a couple of gas pumps. I'm not sure if those are still working. Okay, well, out of all the weird stuff Sandy Valley has to offer, and I'm sure there's a ton, I'll be honest, I really came here for 2 attractions. Well, 3. I wanted to see that airport community, but I also want to see, well, somebody tipped me off that there's some old monorail cars from Walt Disney World in somebody's backyard here. And I mean, I looked at it on Google Maps and it looks like you can see them from the road, so I'm not trying to trespass or, well, piss anybody off here in a town where they don't dial 911. But I am really curious to see these monorail cars. And the person who tipped me off about them used to work at Disney World. And so he gave me the whole back history into these monorail cars and how they were developed and what their provenance was. And, well, if he's correct, we should be able to see 2, I think they were made in 1982, monorail cars from Walt Disney World in Florida. One of them, I think, I guess all the monorail cars had different colors for their names, so that well, as my friend put it, so the college kids who were driving them would have an easy way of identifying each other, not crash into each other, like, you know, monorail green coming, monorail yellow. Well, I guess they went through monorail red, yellow, green, blue, all the popular colors in the first run of monorails they built back in like 1972, but then they had to build additional monorail cars in I think 1982, and well, they had to come up with some new colors, so apparently they came up with monorail lime, I think, and monorail coral, and they already had a monorail green and a monorail pink, so lime and coral were, well, pretty close. So I don't know, it seems to me it would have been pretty confusing, but anyway, I think lime and coral might be the 2 monorail cars that are out here. Okay, supposedly these monorail cars are in some guy's yard about a 1/4 mile up this road. And yes, I'm using the word road very loosely. Oh wait, I can see them. Oh my gosh, the sun is right behind them, so you probably can't, but I'm gonna risk getting shot and pull over and take a look. Wow, look at that. That is too funny. Okay, I can see a colored stripe on the side, but it doesn't look like lime or coral, so I'm not sure about my friend's theory. It says a touch of class. I don't know, anybody here ever go to Disney World? You might recognize it. Look in the thing there, it says, on the door it says cast members only. That's what they call people who work at Disneyland, cast members. Like, you're in the cast, you're actors, you're not just schlubs working for an hourly wage driving a monorail. Okay, wow, I actually do think that's pretty cool. I wonder why this person bought it, what they plan to do with it, and how they got it out here. I mean, according to my friend's research, I think the assumption is that when the MGM Grand in Vegas was trying to rebrand to become family friendly back in the 90s, they had a monorail line running from like Bally's to the MGM. And, you know, I don't know if you remember, they used to have that little family friendly theme park behind the MGM. Well, I think the MGM bought some of these monorail cars from Disney World to run from Bally's to their little amusement park out back. I don't know. And so then when the whole family friendly thing went took a nosedive, and they decided to pursue other avenues in Vegas, and they sort of abandoned the whole family friendly idea and they bulldozed the theme park, I guess maybe they auctioned these monorail cars off, and that's how this guy bought them. And it's interesting because you know how sometimes you go out to these rural properties and there's like that guy that has like a ton of weird old vehicles and boats and stuff collected in his yard? And you would think this would be that guy. Well, the rest of the yard is very tidy. There's not a whole bunch of cars and boats and motorcycles or anything weird. It's very neat. In fact, it's a really nice property. And well, I think the monorail adds a lot of ambiance. Not sure what the neighbors think, but hey, I guess that's another good thing about living out here in Sandy Valley. There's no HOA, and you can park a monorail in your front yard if you want to. Okay, wow, I am not a theme park junkie, and I'm not a Disney fangirl, but that was super interesting. But, believe it or not, that's still not the most interesting thing, in my opinion, about Sandy Valley. Okay, in my opinion, the most interesting thing about Sandy Valley is right down here at the end of this dirt road. Okay, I think we're here. Well, unfortunately, we can't see much of anything from the street. And, well, to be honest, I don't think there's much of anything left to be seen these days anyways. But this right here used to be a nudist resort. Okay? I think back in the 80s, 90s, up until maybe around 2000, 2001, it was called I think it was called the Nevada Sun Club, and then it might have changed its name to the Nevada Sun Rancho. If I have any nudist or naturist friends watching this video, and you ever came to Vegas back in those days, well, you might remember. Little known fact, or actually terribly kept secret, I'm a pretty big nudist myself, I guess, in the sense that I like hanging out in the sun naked. And I mostly just go to natural hot springs, like out in the middle of nowhere where I don't have to pay membership dues and worry about etiquette. And I just hang out naked and soak up the sun. No big deal. Well, some people feel more comfortable going to a nudist resort or like a nudist colony where there's other naked people around. And so there's, lots of nudist resorts around the world. There's a bunch of really nice ones in Palm Springs. There's a bunch in, I think France, all over the place. Germans are really big into nudity. But here in the Vegas area, there really aren't. There's no nude beaches. There's no nude pool parties. There's really nowhere you can go to be naked. And I know because I looked into it. I used to write for this local website that was called After Dark Vegas. And it was to do with anything adult related to Vegas. So as part of my job writing for this website, I had to go to every strip club in Las Vegas. I had to go to every brothel around Las Vegas. And then, well, I had to just basically look up any kind of adult or adult type business in the greater Vegas area. And so one of those things was I had to look up all the nude beaches, where people could go hang out naked. And there weren't any. Okay, this would have been I think I had that job in 2010. And in 2010, there was nowhere. There were no nude clubs you could go to, no nudist resorts. But I did find the website for this place, long abandoned website, long neglected. And I thought, golly, there was a nudist resort in a place called Sandy Valley. And at that time, well, I'd never even heard of Sandy Valley. But yeah, back in that, I guess in that cluster of trees there, I'll zoom in a little bit. That was a nudist resort. And it had a big swimming pool and a bunch of little cabins you could rent, like little trailer cabins. It looked pretty nice. Now, how do I know it looked pretty nice? I just said I went to the website and there was nothing left. Well, that's because, believe it or not, this is your lucky day. You could be the brand new owner of an ex-nudist resort. That's right. This place is for sale. It's actually listed on Zillow as an ex-nudist resort. And so there's a bunch of pictures on the Zillow listing showing the pool and the grounds and all the different cabins. And it's actually pretty dang nice. And I'm not going to lie, when I saw that it was for sale, incidentally, the same person who tipped me off to that monorail tipped me off to this. So, hey, if you're watching, thanks, Jefferson. Anyway, when I saw the listing, I kind of thought, dope! I already bought my Death Valley compound. I should have held out for this. But this is out of my price range. I think she's asking almost $500,000. And for that, you do get a pretty sizable property with a really nice swimming pool. All these different outbuildings are all air conditioned. There's a big main house and a bunch of different little guest houses. It's pretty nice. And you can see there's mature landscaping. There's trees. You can even see the snow-capped mountains in the back. And you're right in the middle of all this weird fabulousness. What a deal. Anyway, I'll put a link to the Zillow listing in the description to this video so you can check it out if you're interested. And well, if you do buy it, let me know. Actually, I think you might, if you buy it, might have a problem opening it as a nudist resort, because from what I was able to read online, it got shut down, I think, in 2001. Because even way out here in remote Sandy Valley, where folks kind of do as they please, I guess the county health district had some issue with the fact that they were, kind of operating a motel without a license, because, well, you could pay to stay overnight in one of the little cabins, and I think you could pay $5 to camp in a tent. And I mean, golly, it's just a bunch of people that want to hang out naked someplace where no one's gonna bother them. I mean, is that too much to ask? Who knows? Whoever ends up buying it might figure out a way to make it work, and the old Nevada Sun Club might rise again. And if that happens, and if whoever makes it happen happens to be watching this video, well, invite me to the grand opening party. Okay, well, this pretty much concludes my tour of Sandy Valley. I am going to come back and try to stay at that Sandy Valley Ranch. If you remember from the beginning of the video, that Airbnb with the covered wagon. Because I feel like staying in a covered wagon out here at night, I mean, the stars must be absolutely amazing. And it would be so peaceful. And there would be so many interesting things to poke around during the day that, golly, I might never want to leave.